We're on Machshirin Perek Gimel Mishnah. We're continuing to talk about ways that they had to manage their homes, keep their produce, and it was involving water. So is it b'chiyutan? And then the water that gets the produce wet is intentionally placed there, and therefore the produce is mekabel tumah or not? Says the Mishnah, mitanen betitanagu, dried out if you do mitanen. Mitanen again is some kind of hatmana or like bilachlech, right? You put your produce in dirt. So some method of either cleaning the produce or maintaining it, storing it, because again, that was a terrible thing. If you work so hard to produce all your food, we worry about mold, you worry about bugs. They must have had ancient practices to try to prevent loss. Hamitanen betitanagu. So you do this mitanen. The Bartudura says you put your produce in dried out teeth. I mean, it's dried out dirt, so it's, I guess, crumbly dirt, but every kind of dirt has a certain kind of, even if it's dried out, has some wetness in it. So says the Mishnah. Rabbi Shimon Omer, says Rabbi Shimon, Im yesh bo mashket tofech. Mashket tofech, if you squeeze it out, if there's enough liquid that it could drip out, then b'chiyutan. Then there's a problem. Then the wetness of the produce makes it mekabel tumah. Im lav, and if not, eino b'chiyutan. Even if it's a tiny bit of wetness, you could feel it, but not tofech, not dripping off. Tofech means you can get it to drip off, therefore, it's not b'chiyutan. And that was probably very important to them to feel how wet the produce was. Rabbi said grano. If you have a grano, a goren is a threshing floor. So the goren was always very, very dry. Now you remember Rabbi, so you sprinkle water in order to tamp it down, to dry. You don't have to worry when you put down the chitim. You're going to put down, it's a threshing floor. You're going to put it down the wheat in order to thresh. So you don't have to worry that it became dirty. You don't have to worry because the threshing floor was always, the Kahati says, the threshing floor was always very, very dry. Because since it was dry, then the water gets soaked in, and it's never a problem. Hamlaket asavim shatal alim. You gather grasses when the dew is on them. They're wet. Then lahatein be'am chitim. When you're using these grasses, again, lahatein be'am chitim to mix them with the wheat, I guess the grasses would keep them fresh. It sounds, again, I'm not sure. If you know, let me know. But it sounds like they were using this as a storage method. So the wetness of the towel is not b'chiyutan. But if you did it on purpose, meaning you wanted them to be wet, we're going to see why in a second. You want your wheat to be wet. So if you use the grasses in order to store the wheat or what have you, that's fine if you didn't intend for the water. But if you did it on purpose, then it is b'chiyutan. If you're on the way to take your wheat to the grindery, to grind, and rain fell on them, im samach b'chiyutan. So if you're happy that it got wet, then it's b'chiyutan. So again, if you want it to become wet, then even if you didn't put it on, then it's b'chiyutan. The grain is then mekabel tumah. Rabbi Yehuda Omer says, Rabbi Yehuda, efshar shalom lismoach. It's impossible that you're not happy. Why? Says the Bartuner, Shavhi tzarich lelatitan. Lelatet means when you're grinding, you want to loosen the wheat from that chaff, you want to loosen it from the what's it called, the brandish. So you want to loosen it when you want it to grind. So they wet apparently, I don't know this. I don't grind wheat, but if it's a little bit wet, you need to be a little wet. Okay. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda says you have to. It's definitely you're happy, but if you're taking it, and how would you know if you're happy? Ela im amad. If you stop in the rain, you're like, let it get a little wet. You want to wait there, then it's b'chiyutan. But if you're just taking it, of course you're going to be happy, and it's not b'chiyutan. We'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to my father of Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a good day.